A couple of weeks ago, Famitsu did release their full interview with the Splatoon 3 devs, and yeah, on the channel I did make a video at the time using Microsoft Bing and Google Translate going over that interview. I will leave a link to that video as well as all of my other videos that I did make covering this Famitsu interview. But before those videos, what I will do is leave a link to Razikaz's full proper translation, because last week they did release their full translation and they are more reliable than Microsoft Bing and Google Translate. I just want to point out something really interesting I found in the interview that I didn't spot a couple of weeks ago, and it is in terms of new multiplayer game modes for Splatoon 3 and why we haven't got any of them yet. So Famitsu did ask why the multiplayer game modes are the same as the ones we did have in Splatoon 2, and this is what the devs responded. So they said, in the world of Splatoon, turf wars are an enduringly popular sport. I don't think that will change in the future, so one reason is to stay consistent with this setting. Another reason is that we want to make sure that a variety of people can play the game, and if we add more game modes, we will have to ask people to figure out new rules. On the other hand, we cannot reduce the number of old game modes in order to add new ones. Every game mode must be someone's favourite, so we decided to refine each game mode rather than eliminate existing ones. So it sounds like to me that we will never get another new game mode for Splatoon 3 like what we got in Splatoon 2. What I mean by that is I don't think we will get a new multiplayer game mode like what we got for Clan Blitz in Splatoon 2. I don't get the logic at all in the answer, because otherwise why did we get Clan Blitz? Because we had to learn the rules for that. That did get added to Splatoon 2. I just don't get the reasoning behind that whatsoever. They are putting in rules that don't need to be put in. I feel like a new multiplayer game mode, yeah, there would be a learning sort of point to that game mode, but that is part of the fun, learning a brand new game mode. It will be fresh for the game. It will add a much needed uniqueness to Splatoon 3's multiplayer, because it doesn't have its own multiplayer game mode at the moment, and I definitely feel like the game could do with it. I'm just going to be honest and say not adding in new game modes, because people will have to figure out new rules and they would have to remove a game mode to add in a game mode. Again, I don't get that reasoning, because they could easily just add in an extra game mode into the rotation. Yeah, you might get less Clan Blitz, less Splat Zones, less Tower Control, Rainmaker popping up. Or if it is going to be a regular game mode, you would have Turf War popping up less in the rotation, but it would help to stop the game feeling stale. It would help it to feel fresh for a longer period of time. I don't feel like they are good enough reasons for why we haven't got a brand new multiplayer game mode. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say about this in the comment section below. But what about Splatoon 4 whenever that does come around? You're going to say the same thing again? Oh, we can't add a new multiplayer game mode because it's going to be a new rule for someone to figure out, for people to figure out, and it's going to mean that we're going to have to get rid of Tower Control, Clan Blitz or something like that. I just don't get that reasoning. Maybe, yeah, you know what you could do? Maybe for one season get rid of Clan Blitz and add in a new multiplayer game mode, and then for the next season swap out Rainmaker, bring back Clan Blitz, and then swap out Splat Zones and bring back Rainmaker. There are ways around it. Or like what I said before, just have less game modes appear in the rotation, so you know you have a brand new game mode that would sort of appear. It would mean that the other game modes would appear less in the rotation. Focusing on stuff like this is not focusing on adding in fun stuff for the game, and that is what they should be focusing on. Like I said, this didn't stop them adding in Clan Blitz, but apparently 4 game modes in Anarchy Battle, that is the breaking point, and people can't learn anything beyond that. Look at Call of Duty, look how many game modes that had in its day. It had Demolition, Domination, kill confirmed, free-for-all, team deathmatch, search and destroy, elimination, and all of the party game modes like gun game, one in the chamber, sticks and stones. Look how many game modes there were in Call of Duty. The fact that the Splatoon devs feel like we can't cope with 5 game modes, that the game can't handle 5 game modes. It's not like all of these game modes are in rotation at the same time. They are not. We have rotations. So Anarchy Series that has one, Anarchy Battle game mode, Anarchy Open has another one. It's not like it's going to split the player base. It will just, again, like I said before, it will just add that extra little bit of freshness to the game, and it would have helped Splatoon 3 stand out compared to the other 2 games in this series if it did have its own multiplayer game mode to call its own, like how Clan Blitz is unique to Splatoon 2 compared to Splatoon 1. If Splatoon 3 had its own, it would have helped to quell a lot of the talk you did hear when Splatoon 3 did come out, that it's not a big jump compared to Splatoon 2. It's not that much new compared to Splatoon 2. A brand new multiplayer game mode would have helped to sort of quell all of that sort of talk we did get back in September last year. Nintendo are putting in unneeded restrictions on themselves, and that will only lead to limitations, not only for them but also for us, the players, because it will lead to less fun opportunities, because they are sticking to, yeah, we're going to have turf war all of the time because it is part of their culture. Why can't something come up in the world of Splatoon that might take over from turf war, or might be just as popular as turf war? I feel like this hurts the creativity for the game and will hurt the series not only in the short term but also in the long term if they stick to this sort of thinking in not just this aspect but in other aspects surrounding the series as well. It does worry me a little bit. I guess one thing I would say to sort of end it on the positive note, at least we are getting the challenge game mode that varies up the existing game modes by having unique rules like the Too Many Trizookas, and we've got, you know, the Extreme Jump Battle one and Foggy Notion. But again, you are still going to have to learn those sort of game modes as well. So I just don't get the whole reason, yeah, we can't add in a game mode because it means players will have to learn new rules. Well, that didn't stop you adding in the challenge game mode. So yeah, I don't really get this sort of thinking whatsoever, but at least we are getting challenge game mode. I guess it is better than nothing, but yeah, definitely would have liked to have seen a new permanent game mode as well. I don't get this whatsoever, but let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section below. I don't feel like we will ever get a brand new multiplayer game mode for Splatoon 3, which I feel like is a massive shame, and definitely is a loss of massive potential there. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below.